Hey, Jen.
Hi, Mom.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Facebook is giving us a hard time, though. So when I say, you know what time it is, do you know what time it is?
What time is it?
Well, time for a silent movie. That's our new silent intro.
We have been silenced.
Well, they're trying to silence us. Well, they silenced our intro at least. They don't like, even though it's under 10 seconds, they don't like the fact that you talk too much. So we're going to need a new song for the show.
We're just so popular that they're afraid that song is going to make so much money for us.
Well, we have 11 viewers, so we have to. 12 now. So, it's been an interesting week, hasn't it, though?
Oh, yes, it has. I'm done. I said all these funerals. I was telling Joe's daughter, I said my hem came out of my funeral pants.
Yeah.
That's how much I've worn them in the past month.
Well, it's unfortunate, but I think that the hypocrisy for this week has gotten to an all new high. Did you see that Mayor Adams has COVID?
I did.
COVID. Sorry, that was a Freudian slip. COVID.
I did. Mr. Boosted, vaxxed.
Look who's here. Tony Herbert's with us
Tony.
Today. Hey, Tony. Long time no see. Good to have you with us today. Well, and Tony ran for public advocate, so he knows absolutely what this whole COVID mess was all about. He was with us against the mandates that shut down the city. But here's the thing, Jen. Mayor Adams tested positive for COVID after being vaccinated and boosted. But despite his positive test, he was out and about maskless, showing us that it's more rules for thee and not for me. Watch this clip.
Adams attended a high-profile dinner in the nation's capital where many others have tested positive. News 4 Government Affairs reporter Melissa Russo has the impact on City Hall.
I feel fine. Outside of the rep seat voice, I feel fine. Tired, no aches or pains at all. What does that say? Booster, vaccination.
The mayor has pushed New Yorkers to go back to work and live with the virus, appearing mostly maskless in public, including at an event last week benefiting New Yorkers with disabilities. Critics unloaded on social media, saying the mayor knew he was exposed but attended the event maskless, exposing hundreds of vulnerable people.
Maskless.
Of course. It's fine. He can do whatever he wants.
So meanwhile, all the cops and the city workers all fired for not having a vaccine, but he can test positive and he can go around maskless. The hypocrisy is ridiculous. Marie Joy is with us, and she says we're her favorite people too. Well, thank you, Marie.
Of course we are.
So we're on the Tony Herbert and Marie Joy list. This is great.
We need to have Tony Herbert on one day.
Oh, absolutely. He's a regular. He was a regular when we were doing Ask the Expert, but we'll definitely have him on again. So, the whole mask wearing, COVID wearing situation, and the rules for thee and not for me. Do you know who actually talked about how the response to COVID was negatively affecting our community? Do you know who actually, other than us, has been saying that on his YouTube channel?
Oh, I'm sure you're going to tell me, but I think I know who you're talking about. Frank James.
Frank James, amazing that this man, we'll show you a clip. It's a minute and a half, but this man was on his YouTube channel, which by the way, was more popular than our show, but that's another story.
We'll just have to commit a few felonies. Well,
if we could commit some felonies, we can get more popular. Well, what he said on his YouTube channel was that the Black communities are suffering the crime because of the Black leaders actually trying to get the police to stand down. And rightly, I mean, he was right about this. The crime in the Black community is going up and people are dying. And then he talks about how the mask mandates actually affected or allowed for people to get away with these crimes. And he actually did a demonstration. Grandma's here. Say hi, Grandma.
Hi, Grandma. It's so funny because I was actually, when I was watching him, when I found his Facebook, when they were looking for him, for a minute, I forgot he was the shooter and the subway shooter. And I was like, oh my God, this guy's great. I agree with everything he's saying. And then I remembered who he was. And I'm like, oh, crap.
Yeah. It's amazing. If you take a look at, I mean, I can only find some of his videos because they took a lot of his social media sites down, but it's amazing. I mean, obviously he's crazy. Obviously what he did was horrible. But it's remarkable to me that he was lucid in a lot of these Facebook videos. He was also ranting a lot about things, but what he was basically trying to say is, that we are screwing ourselves. So I'm not going to paraphrase anymore. I'm going to let you listen. This is Frank James. And as you know, he recently donned a gas mask and shot a bunch of people in New York City subways. And before he did it, he was telling people how it could happen. And now he's done it. Watch.
It seems that these real N-words are becoming more and more active, more and more emboldened, and it's all around the amount of rights and civil liberties that are being extended to these real Negroes, that they can run around here now and do things, and like I said, and I mean that, hide behind their rights, because these real Negroes don't give a shit about anybody or anything except themselves and those who they feel are part of their inner circle, so to speak. We have a situation where the police are now in a place where they don't want to stop you. They don't want to, do anything that may cause you to, there may be a situation where they may get some backlash, And so I think that's what's leading to this rise in killings and shootings and a lot of other shit that goes on in the Black community. This is part of it. Along with the fact that part of this pandemic also, the pandemic is a perfect backdrop. It's just a perfect situation, for the crime rate to skyrocket in the Black community. I mean, how incredibly, how can you say this, coincidental it is that one of the responses to this pandemic is the wearing of the mask. I can actually walk around like this, looking just like this, and nobody, police, anybody else, really, they can't say anything to me. I mean, how convenient this mask wearing is to those who have nefarious thoughts, ideas, and purposes.
I mean,
and it did, because it took them how long to find him? He was walking around with his mask on.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. His ability to be spot on with a lot of the things he talked about. He talked about in some of his videos, Ukraine and Russia, and that, Russia coupling up with China makes a superpower that can't be defeated, and the problems of that. I don't know what made him violent, but it was amazing that, there was some cogent summaries in some of his videos. We're here with Jerry Kruger, and he says the left is a joke. They think they can get away with anything, and that's the truth. He says true that to the video, and so does Athena Garrett say true that. I mean, the thing about our leaders is that they don't think about the ramifications of, or maybe they do. but they don't give a shit about the ramifications of the rules that they make. And what really gets me crazy is that they jump when one says it, they all say it, and they jump on and they regurgitate.
Yeah, they're a whole bunch of hypocrites. All of them are hypocrites, including our mayor. Our mayor who beefed up because this man, Frank James, threatened him on social media. Our mayor beefed up his security while he's in the house, beefed up his security with NYPD police officers for protection. Meanwhile, his own people, his constituents of New York City, we have absolutely no security. We can't take the train. We can't get on a bus. We can't walk to the store at night because he's taking NYPD officers off the force because they're not vaccinated. Right. So we're missing out on that. And where's our protection? But yet he protected himself. And that same day, he sent out all those letters in the morning to the NYPD officers who weren't vaccinated, firing them.
Yeah. I've said it for the longest time. The city is now unmanageable. It's unmanageable because people don't use logic and they don't project. If I do this, then this is going to happen. If I do that, then that's going to happen. I mean, they're driving people out of New York with the crime. They're still masking 2-year-olds and daycare, even though we've seen the facts that children of that age COVID isn't fatal to them. We learned that the CDC, who posted incorrect facts on their website about children dying, had to revise those facts because they found out that they weren't true. It's crazy to me that a crazy guy who went into the subway and shot a whole bunch of people is making more sense than our elected officials.
It made me feel crazy while I was watching it. I was like, wait a second, am I crazy?
I couldn't believe that I was saying to myself, this guy's got a point. This guy has a point. And, that is when things really get scary. When the crazy people, the violent people are making more sense than our elected leaders and our media. So I wanted to show that clip. I could have gone where all the other news stations went and shown him ranting and cursing and, being bigoted and biased. But I chose that clip because it's almost like he warned the leaders that this could happen and what was happening. And then he did it. He did it. He evaded them. He showed them. And if this isn't a wake-up call to everyone that we better get on our game for the good of the people that live in this city, then I don't know what's going to be. Anna is with us. Anna from Brooklyn. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Anna.
Today, Anna. Frank Cooney, he's not crazy. He just took it to the next level to bring attention to his point. You know what, Frank? Wasn't there, I think there was a movie at one point where a regular working guy, and I can't remember who starred in the movie. I'm really bad with titles and names, but a regular working guy had enough and took a gun and took people hostage because the government overreach was too big and too much that he finally snapped. And I mean, I
think that was the name of the movie, Snap.
No, it's not. That's not that. It was like Regular Man or something like that. I can't remember the name of the movie, but it was a movie. It was a popular movie. I want to say it was Robin Williams, but I might be wrong about that. But that's, I'm not saying, listen, I don't know anything about Frank James. Is all I know is what I saw on the video. And the only reason that I clipped a couple of pieces was not to remove anything, of substance or make it look a certain way. I did it because there was a lot of ums and these, and he got up to go look for the mask, so he just let the camera roll as he talked, naturally. But if you go and if you Google Frank James YouTube, actually it's
Frank Whitaker.
Prophet of Truth 88 was his handle. And so people had downloaded a whole bunch of stuff. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. He had a couple of YouTube channels. It was a warning. So I'm with you 100. Frank Cooney. Yeah, great movie and great story. All right, now give me the name of the movie.
Someone
Frank.
Google it.
Yeah, give me the name of the movie.
Googling.
So anyway, could it be that he just snapped? Maybe. I mean, but people say he was off his meds. He was, mentally disturbed. I don't know because
Falling down.
What's that?
Falling down?
No, I don't think that was it.
You sure about that?
Who starred in it?
I don't know. 1993.
Yeah, it was about that time.
Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas. That's what it was. Falling down, and he goes nuts. He's a regular guy in taxes, and he loses his job.
Yes. He loses his job in the morning.
That's right, and then it's like 24 hours, and he takes hostages. So once again, fiction imitating life, or life imitating fiction, whichever one you want. Well. Now from somebody who everybody was touting as a hero, couple of last year, Patrisse Cullors of the BLM. Last week, and James was right about this. He was saying that organizations such as BLMs are enriching themselves and their inner circle members while putting the rest of us at risk. So last week, we reported that BLM leader, Patrisse Cullors, used BLM donations to purchase mansions all across the country. This week, she's spinning the investigation against her organization as being racist. And as a matter of fact, she's saying the whole IRS process is racist.
No, they're just terrorists.
Well, they're racist. Watch as she tells a group that the IRS reporting requirements are targeting Black leaders. This one is rich. Watch this. Hold on.
I actually did not know what 990s were before all of this happened.
It's confusing.
So part of the opportunity here is to educate our folks. Like, something's being weaponized against us that many people don't even know and honestly don't care about. It is such a trip now to hear the word, the term 990s. I'm like, ugh, it's like triggering. This doesn't seem safe for us. This 990 structure, this nonprofit system structure, this is like deeply unsafe. Like, this is being literally weaponized against us, against the people we work with. I can't tell you how many people are like, am I next? People's morale in an organization is so important.
Yes.
But if their organization and the people in it are being attacked and scrutinized at everything they do, that leads to deep burnout. That leads to deep resistance and trauma. There is a misinformation and disinformation effort to not just challenge Black Lives Matter and the organization, but it's an experiment. If they win, then it's the next Black-led organization.
And don't mind me that I'm like this. I just can't hear. I'm trying.
Well, I have news for everybody. Today's April 15th, and guess what today is? Tax day. I'm triggered. How about you? Everybody triggered?
I'm very triggered. Very triggered.
So she's spinning it that the fact that she took millions of dollars from corporations to supposedly further the cause and justice for Black people, that she spent it on mansions, and now people are investigating her. I'm in a state of shock, because is she saying that she didn't know about 990s? She didn't know. She starts a not-for-profit group. She takes money from others, and she spends it on mansions, but she didn't know that there was a reporting requirement. And the woman with her also has a group, and she said she didn't know either. The accountants had to tell us.
I didn't know. I didn't file my taxes. I didn't know. That's my excuse too.
Well, you know what? That's the path they're going down. And how many people are going to, not that I think rebelling against taxes is a bad idea. I actually kind of like it.
But say you're doing it.
Well, yeah, frankly, I have been rebelling against taxes because you give the money to the quote unquote government and then they give it to their nonprofit groups that they prefer. They don't provide services for the people. So if they're too stupid to know how to spend their money, then or to spend the money on us, then I rebel against taxes. But I do, before I do anything, I research what's necessary and needed of me. And listen, I'm on the board of a couple of nonprofit groups, and we don't own any mansions. We don't buy buildings. We don't have mansions. We don't, have recording studios. We utilize the money, the funds for the purpose of the mission.
My life is a nonprofit. I feel like my whole life.
Well,
No
the new
profits.
world, the new world is taken from Peter to pay Paul. But the problem with that is, Jen, is, when's enough enough? Hardworking people are paying taxes, are doing their part to support government, while government decides, like last week, we talked about California, if you're gay, you get $900 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're a transgender, for some reason,
Non-binary.
you're not capable of supporting yourself and pulling your weight like the rest of society. So what did colors think? Because, and she's saying that Black groups are being targeted by 990s. I don't think so, Patrice. I don't think it's just BLM. I think it's anybody that doesn't account for the money that others give them. I know it is. But anyway, the IRS and 990.
And if you're not educated enough to know things, you should not be opening your own nonprofit.
Well, you know what? It gives a bad name to women, in my opinion. Her sitting up there saying that she didn't know that this was a necessary function, or this was part of it, that just furthers the problem that some people have with women as leaders. There's problems all over the place with that interview. But anyway, what does Anna say? I was told he was previously a terrorist list, but was removed. Oh, this is about Frank James. Yeah, I don't know. Anna, you got to look at his videos. It's mind-boggling how much sense he makes, and does he prove the point? Frank Cooney came in with the answer. It was Michael Dustis.
Too late, Frank. I Googled
Douglas,
it.
yeah. Jennifer was quicker on the draw with Google than you were, Frank. But we'll give Frank bells anyway. Thank you for giving us that. Anna says, I'm not triggered too much yet. Use a little because it's approximately 22% of my income biweekly, but I'm glad that I'm making up for my medical days. Well, Anna's back to work. She was having some health issues, and we're glad you're making up for your medical days too, Anna. But for many others, today you file your taxes.
They extended it. They gave you 3 extra days.
Oh, really?
Monday.
Well, I filed my taxes a week ago.
Did I. And they're excellent. Yeah, I did too.
I finally did it on time because finally I said, you know what, enough. I'm done. I didn't want to pay any more penalties and fees. So I filed my taxes. My accountant convinced me that one way or another I was going to pay. So I filed my taxes. But I pay weekly or monthly anyway, quarterly. So anyway, I'm getting.
See how much she knows about paying taxes?
Yeah.
You're like,
I know a lot about paying taxes. I do it. I stay within the guidelines, but I'm just pissed off. I was actually protesting a little bit because it's enough. I'm tired. We have a southern border situation. We're going to get to that in a few minutes, where people are coming into this country, and NGOs and the mayor of D.C. are rolling out the red carpet for these people. It looks like when they're getting off the bus, it looks like a tour group. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't know.
She's triggered.
The next movie might be about me, because I got to tell you, I've had it. I've had it.
Don't say that. They'll wind up coming for you. There's so many people watching us.
Yeah, one of the 7 is going to report me. Let them come for me. I don't give a shit. I've had it. All right. Yeah, there'll be a day where I'll be locked up and people will be looking at this show and say, she warned you. She warned you. She warned you that she was going to make sure that people who cared about other people were going to get elected to office, and that, common sense thinking politicians, I don't care, male, female, Democrat, Republican, as long as they speak common sense, are going to go in there and start serving the public instead of themselves. That's all I want. That's all I want. And then I'll pay even more taxes than I pay. I pay 40% right now. I'll pay even more as long as the money goes to serve the people.
Well, that will never happen. So,
well, why? I mean, democracy is the best form of government that we can ever have. But we're going down the road to being like a communist.
Of course. You're not allowed to speak. Everything gets taken away from you.
Well, the Chinese influence on this country is such that, the young people are now really starting to fall into that trap. And later on in the program, we're going to have it's a long clip. It's 4 minutes, but I put it in because everybody has to see it. What's happening to China right now is the Department of Health in New York State just passed a similar rule that they can do that here. But it feels to me that the Chinese are influencing the young people's minds towards communism in this country. And Bernie Sanders and AOC and Ilhan Omar, they're all on the bandwagon for this. And I wonder why. People are dying to come into this country, and we see it at the southern border, right? We see it all over the place. So why in the hell would you want to unravel democracy? So many people are trying.
There has to be an evil money-making scheme behind it, because they can't be that stupid.
Well, who's the they?
The AOC, Bernie Sanders.
So you think they're being paid off?
There has to be something. They cannot be that blind.
I don't disagree with you. I think that there is money influencing their thought process, and I think that
and it happens in both parties. Don't get me wrong. 100%.
Absolutely.
We make more sense when we talk.
Well, and if you're following the Hunter Biden stuff, you're seeing that he was influenced by outside money, and so was Joe Biden. And I believe strongly that Dr. Jill, is getting money because Joe is too senile to know what to do next. And I'm sure that what's her name? What's his name? Blah, blah, blah. Kamala Harris is also being influenced by outside money. It has to be. I mean, Pelosi, all of them, to unravel our democracy. Why? I don't know. But speaking of unraveling our democracy and changing the way we do things in America, there's a group, and I don't get this either unless it's to stop Americans from procreating. New Jersey now, their education system has adopted teaching children as young as 6 years old about gender identity. And guess who helped write the curriculum, Jen?
Who?
Remember a couple of months, maybe last month, we had a story about Amazed Parents?
Yes.
Well, apparently Amazed Parents is part of the curriculum. They want to use the videos on their website to teach kids that they don't have to be a boy or a girl. It's pink, it's blue, it's purple. Watch this. Let me make sure I get the right one. Here we go.
It's very shameful that the groups that put this curriculum together did so while everyone was being told to hide in your house and worry about, the air was filled with COVID. And they were intending on changing our children's hearts and minds in 2022 when everything was better. It's very frustrating, but we've been on top of it, my group, in the last year. So we were ready for this fight for the summer.
So here's what the education guidelines say. They say, discuss the range of ways people express their gender and how gender role stereotypes may limit behavior. 3 R's, pink, blue, and purple. They also say define gender identity and gender role stereotypes. There's just all kinds of stuff in here. I think probably the most shocking is that one of the resources that they offer teachers to talk or to offer in their curriculum is a website called Amaze. And this Amaze website really normalizes porn. It's in an animated format that makes it super kid friendly and fun and tells kids that, you know, it's normal, and there's all kinds of very sexually explicit material, correct?
So that's what's going on.
They're not worried about real education to teach these children about. I can't. I'm like so disgusted. Now I'm where you were at 5 minutes ago. Like, my words are all tied up because I'm so pissed off.
So our schools are not teaching kids to the art of adulting, right? No. Of balancing your checkbook, learning math, being able to write in more
Even
than
cooking for yourself. Like, oh, Mac.
No logic, because we can't have logic, because if you think, then you'll recognize that what our government is doing, or those left-leaning individuals are doing, is just destroying our culture. So they want our school system to rear a group of sheep who don't have kids and who don't know how to work and who don't want to do anything. And
this went all out the window when Common Core math came into play. Once Common Core math came into play, curriculums, education started to become a thing of the past. When you had to start putting dots in a circle to count, that's when our education system started failing, if you ask me.
And, you know, and parents spoke up then, and they spoke up in large numbers, but still Common Core was adopted across, the United States. And what always fascinated me about Common Core is that they said, the governments that adopted this as a curriculum, said that it was to teach kids logic. But it was the most illogical way to count that I've ever seen. But again, they spun it. They did a spin on it. They sold it to people. They made parents feel stupid. And when people feel stupid, if they don't understand it, they're not going to get involved because they don't want to look stupid, right? Like we talked about Emperor with no clothes, right? Mm-hmm. That story of the Emperor's clothes. You know, the schemers said, while they were pretending to sew pretend cloth with pretend string, that if you couldn't see it, then you were not worthy of your position, and that you were too stupid to understand.
Exactly.
And so the king walked around naked, and the people all said, "Oh, the clothes are beautiful." And it took a child to say, "Wait, I don't see anything. There's no clothes. What are you talking about?" But that, it's like, it's the scammers are in control of the country. I mean, that prince from Africa that was sending emails to everybody saying, "I have $1 million that I'm putting in your account." Remember that in the 1990s?
I know grown adults that owned multi-million-dollar companies that believed it. And they were like, "Answer this email for me," one of my clients. I'm like, "Are you serious? Are you serious?"
But think about that, right? So back in the 90s, when those emails went around, I'm a Saudi prince, or I'm an African prince, and I have money for you. Maybe 1% of the population believed it and got taken for a ride. Now it seems like those scammers are in control of our world, of our government, of our social system, of everything, because they're lying to our faces. And some of these young people who have been groomed are believing it. And that's the next generation to take.
Those are going to be the people that watch us when we're old in wheelchairs and have to be put in a nursing home. That's who we have.
Well, maybe they won't be watching us or putting us in nursing homes. Maybe they'll do an Andrew Cuomo and just euthanize us when we get too old. Jeff Bezos, said it. They when people are too old and decrepit, we shouldn't be supporting them. Lorraine Polly says, if you could take your kids out of school and teach them what they really need to learn. You know what, Lorraine, you're absolutely right. The parents and I got pushback. I put this on my Facebook page. I put it up, and I understand why people got crazy. I didn't do it intentionally, but I guess people wanted to know more. I said, parents, take your kids out of public school now. And that's all I put up. And it had, hundreds and hundreds of comments and thousands of likes. And it started a debate back and forth because people didn't know what they missed. And what they missed is this in New Jersey. The fact that we're going to start teaching 6-year-olds that they don't have to be a boy or a girl. They can be both or neither. And when you do that, and as the mother said, Planned Parenthood was behind a lot of that curriculum. And we know that Planned Parenthood was originally started by a woman who wanted to stop African Americans from procreating. And and basically they're now wanting everybody to stop procreating. So, Sanger was her name. Anybody who's going to say, oh, you're crazy, Leticia, look it up. Sanger. It was back in the days of FDR. She was trying to stop the African American population from growing. She sold it as it was a way for women who could and families who couldn't support themselves to stop having children. But her reasons for doing it were nefarious. They were racist and they were bigoted. And Margaret Sanger was the founder of Planned Parenthood. So, but anyway, I was saying that when I put it on my Facebook page, parents were going crazy, and some parents said that I was anti-gay, and that I shouldn't buy into all of this. And my response was, I'm not anti-gay. I believe in human rights for everyone.
Oh, yeah. 6-year-olds would eat cake all day long if they were given the opportunity. They don't know what they want.
When my brother was 6 years old, he wanted to be a fire truck. So should we say to a child, oh, you could be a fire truck?
Well, they can identify as one now. Did you ever hear of furries? Because I never did.
Of what?
One of my laser technicians, a furry. So if you don't identify as a girl, you don't identify as a boy, you can identify as a furry. It's a furry. I mean, in my head, what are those things called that look like Ewoks? They were furry.
I know it's the gremlins.
No, not a gremlin. Those aren't furry. They don't have hair. But I forget what they were called. Whatever.
Gremlins were covered in hair.
You can identify as a furry.
Okay.
That's what. Listen, de Blasio started this when in New York City, he allowed you to put an X next to your child's gender. How does that baby know what they are? Why are you putting an X? Why are you interfering?
So it's the new science. Like it was the new math, Common Core. Now we're going to the new science. And we talked about this before. They told us with COVID, follow the science. And they call Furbies.
Thank you, Lorraine.
Thank you, Lorraine Polly, once again. Hey, our viewers are way smarter than us.
They have Google.
Some schools were requested by students to have a cat litter box for them. Lovely. And you know what? They're 6 years old.
I'm just going to walk around with this all day long.
I think we should. I think that's the next thing. I mean, the common sense people, if we don't take back And it's not just government, it's society. As I was saying on that Facebook back and forth about pull your kids out of public school, I got that it's a very irresponsible thing for you to say, Ms. Remauro. What are we supposed to do with our kids? Well, I don't know. What are you supposed to do with your kids? Because they got to go to work. This is your most precious thing. That your most precious creation is your child. More valuable to us than our car and our diamonds and our Starbucks. And you're asking me what to do with your kids? Well, if a truck was coming after your kid, down the road where you were crossing your kid across the street, and you saw it coming, but you needed to get to the other side, would you keep walking and leave your kid in the road? No, you'd pull your kid out of the way and you do what had to be done to protect the child. You need to do what you have to do to protect your child and your children. Don't conform because it's easy. Everything in life is not easy. You have to, if you make a kid, you have to be responsible for a kid, because that kid is going to grow into an adult, and that kid will only know what is put in their head. And for 8 hours a day, those kids are sitting in a classroom being told that they don't have to be a boy or a girl. And you want me to tell you what to do with your kids? Pull them out. Tell a child of a young age that they will one day grow old and they don't get it. How are they going to really understand this? Margie, you're absolutely right. I've seen parents do it where they have a kid and they think somehow this kid is born with all the knowledge that they have. They don't recognize that children are nothing but sponges. They will absorb whatever is put in front of them, and that is going to mold their personality. If you want your kid to be molded in the personality in the way that you believe, then you need to take charge and make sure that happens. And if that means pulling them out of public school and foregoing your freaking Starbucks and foregoing your Louis Vuitton bag to put them in a private school or even a charter school that thinks like you do, then do it. Listen, when your father and I were young and you were a baby, we ate macaroni all the time so that we could give you what you needed. And what kids need is not an iPhone. They need their parents to take control of their education.
And that's why I'm so amazing.
That is exactly why you're so amazing. I take full credit for it. Anybody that thinks Jen is amazing, you can thank me.
All 4 of you.
Well, for those of you who aren't watching live on Facebook and you're watching us on Rumble, which there are plenty, just make sure that you give us a Rumble and subscribe to the channel every single week, 5 o'clock. The broadcast goes up on Rumble. So if you can't make it, I know 3:30 is a tough time for a lot of people, and we're going to have to find probably a better time at some point in time. We'll probably do a poll or something.
I would think evening.
What's that?
I would think evening or nighttime.
Oh, well, maybe.
People work. Hello, they can't watch their kids, and they can't watch our show. So
yeah. I guess the people that think like we do and like us probably are all working right now. Huh?
Exactly.
Okay, so they're not the ones sitting home, ordering DoorDash and.
No.
Okay, gotcha.
And
Lorraine says kudos. I think that was for you because I raised you and you're so wonderful.
Oh, I thought it was for that rant you just went on.
I
thought your aneurysm was going to explode. I was sitting silently watching you. Wouldn't
that be something? Boom.
And it's just
all of a sudden
turns to dust.
On live Facebook. Listen, you know what? I'll die screaming because that's how much I am frustrated. I will not stop until the message is heard loud and clear. And do I think that I'm right and I know everything? No. I don't think that. I do. I think I'm old and I have a lot of experience. And, so I can share that experience with people. I know I have common sense. I know I can get things done. I've been doing it for long enough. Oh, yeah, wait a minute. Your grandmother's jumping in here. It started with me.
It did, Josephine.
Yes, it did, Josephine. You lit the fire that became, the women of our family. So thank you. So the other thing that parents said, I can't believe we only have 15 minutes left.
Yeah, and I have to be on time to get out. I'm going to be sitting in Passover, Ramadan, Easter traffic.
Yeah, that's true. My mother says I'm well informed. Well, I try to be, Josephine. Thank you very much. But anyway, so the parents also said to me, "Oh, well, you're worried about New Jersey. We live in New York. It's never going to happen here." I just want to remind everybody that bail reform started in New Jersey, and then it spread out to all the.
And I just want to remind everyone, COVID started in China, and everyone said it's never going to come here. And then look.
Well, here's a really short clip from the New York, there's no volume, for the New York State Twitter, New York State Department of Education Twitter. Look at what they were posting. So this is, if anybody looks at that book, it teaches, has pictures and animations of young boys having sex. So, and that's what they posted on the New York State Department of Education Twitter account. So there you go,
lovely.
my friend.
Lovely.
All right. Well, so good. Now talk about spinning a narrative. This clip is amazing. So good to his word, Governor Greg Abbott is giving illegal immigrants arriving at the Texas border a one-way ticket to Washington, D.C. Watch this KHOU 11 report that normalizes their arrival and applauds the D.C. government and NGOs for helping these migrants, setting up a new normal for immigration in America. So watch this. I mean, Jen Psaki's in it. It's a great clip. It says it all. Here you go.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott ordered his state to send the buses to Washington, D.C. in protest of the Biden administration's policy allowing people seeking asylum to stay here in the U.S. while they wait for a hearing. Now, the first bus of nearly 30 men and women arrived just yesterday. Again, the second bus arriving early this morning, with more buses expected in the coming days.
We are sending them to the United States Capitol, where the Biden administration will be able to more immediately address the needs of the people that they are allowing to come across our border.
These are all migrants who have been processed by CBP and are free to travel, so it's nice the state of Texas is helping them get to their final destination as they await in their outcome of their immigration proceedings.
Now, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser also saying that they have resources available to help those families and those individuals who are going to be here in D.C. We also saw some local nonprofits and organizations, including Catholic Charities. They were out here at 5 o'clock in the morning helping some of those families. Again, more buses expected in the coming days. Reporting here in the nation's capital, I'm Nicole D'Antonio. Back to you in Houston.
Sounds like a lot of people lending a helping hand there, Nicole. Thank you for that.
Sounds like a lot of people lending a helping hand there. So Abbott was trying to send the message to Biden that if you want these illegal migrants in, then you pay for them, because Texas is being stretched to its limit. And they're like, oh, the poor people, oh, look, they got a free bus ride to D.C.
Can you imagine?
Did you see them? I know you were trying to hear what they were saying, Jen, but they were coming off the bus with suitcases and backpacks. The little kids, it looked like they were going on a tour of the Washington Monument. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. No more immigration in America. We should just wipe it all out. Screw it.
Did you see what New York State passed? Hochul, with a $220 billion budget they put in for illegal immigrants 65 and older to get free healthcare.
Well,
we're paying for it. Normally, it's not. I forget. It doesn't happen this way, but I think the state and the city. I don't know what's going on, but now we're definitely paying for it.
Well, I'll tell you that in our Constitution of the state of New York, there is a clause that says that we must care for any indigent people. Period. Any indigent people. So if you can't afford it, we are mandated to give them health care, and it used to be under Medicaid. But now with Child Health Plus, which was a great system under Governor Pataki, where people paid in to the system. If you couldn't afford health care yourself, you could pay in.
You paid a certain amount depending on your income.
Right. And
whether
because
it be $60 a month, yeah.
And because it's such a large group of people taking advantage of it, the cost was cheaper. Because if you're private,
I did that when I first got divorced, and I wasn't where I was now. I didn't have any public assistance, but I did pay, and I think I paid $90 a month for that.
And it could have, in the past, it used to be about $2,000 or whatever. But the more people in the system,
well, that's what it was. Yeah, it was going
the cheaper
down.
It was, right?
It was a short amount of time. But
it was a great system established by Governor Pataki. And as usual, the left took it to the nth degree, and it's like free for everybody. And who pays for it? Not the people that are in need of it, but the people who pay their taxes. Yeah. Remember, everybody, today's tax day, April 15th. That's where your money is going to go. It's going to go for people who do not want to work. Now, I have no problem helping people who can't work. And I absolutely have no problem helping senior citizens that paid their taxes all their lives and established New York. Absolutely, I will pay, because they already did their share. Yeah. But when you walk across the border and you don't pay a dime into anything, and then you use all of the resources that we've all paid for to enrich yourself, that I have a problem with. So you know what? Screw immigration. Why are we bothering? They're coming over. They're being processed. Give them a freaking Social Security card. And tell them, oh, by the way, April 15th, tax day, you have to pay. And oh, by the way, if you start a not-for-profit, there's a thing called a 990. And also, don't buy a mansion with the money. That's it. Okay. All right. We got 9 minutes, and this clip is 4 minutes long. So I'm going to, first of all, Anthony Casone says, happy Easter. Thank you, Anthony.
Happy Easter.
Jennifer's going to celebrate Passover today. Yep.
Don't.
So, and her son is actually celebrating Passover in Mexico.
Yes.
So we're a multi-religious family. We do all kinds of things. And here's Lorraine Polly. And don't forget that going to be allowed to vote. Oh, well, allowed. They're going to be encouraged to vote, Lorraine. They're going to all get a voter registration card, and it'll be pre-marked Democrat, please. They did this with Tammany Hall in the past. And anyway, so this last clip, and I'm going to remind everybody that this last clip, it's hard to watch. There's a lot of stuff in here that, some of it warns you ahead of time. But anyway, China is administering a crazy lockdown strategy to try to control the disease they let loose on the world. People are being removed from their homes. Their pets are being killed while their owners are being locked into their apartments without food by local authorities. The video we're about to share is long and disturbing, but it's important for us to show because the New York State Department of Health recently adopted a policy that would allow this to happen in New York.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
If officials deem it necessary due to a pandemic. The reporting is by Daily Wire, and we grabbed it from Congresswoman Lauren Boebert's page. So watch this. Okay, here we go.
Viral videos are emerging from Shanghai, China, as the ongoing lockdown of over 25 million people sends citizens into panic and facing starvation. The lockdown went into effect on March 28th and was scheduled to end on April 5th. However, it is now entering its third week. Most citizens are reportedly not permitted to leave their homes, preventing them from accessing basic necessities like food and medical treatment. Food rationed for the week-long lockdown has long since run out, and food delivery services are no longer working.
Folks who work at the food market are also locked down. But yeah, I can't go outside that door. There's a seal. If I do, physically I could do it, but I would break the seal, and there's repercussions for that. You have to have a community worker escort you to pick up food deliveries, if you're lucky enough to get them, and to get the government distributions if they happen to come.
我们已经很自觉了，尽量不出去。
你告诉我，超市不开门，我买什么？我吃什么？我喝什么？你把人逼死了！
There are reports that certain regions are now permitted to go to grocery stores. However, those able to do so are fighting for any remaining food there. While millions face the threat of starvation, local authorities continue to prioritize COVID safety measures. All citizens are required to undergo frequent mandatory testing. If any individual tests positive, they are forced to enter quarantine camps, regardless of their symptoms. There are even reports of children who test positive being separated from their families and sent off to the camps. There are now videos emerging of house cats allegedly being collected by healthcare workers whose owners have tested positive. Dogs are also allegedly being beaten to death by individuals in hazmat suits in the name of public safety. There are reports of drones flying around, telling residents to, quote, control your soul's desire for freedom. There are even shocking videos of screams ringing out around the city from those trapped indoors. Individuals have been confined to small apartments for weeks, and the outcome is devastating. Not only are deaths from starvation a serious reality, but reports of suicides are escalating rapidly across the city. Other individuals with terminal illnesses are reported to have been refused medical care by the same medical professionals who are equipped to help them.
In another heartbreaking case shared online, a woman is screaming in desperation for the paramedic to help an asthma patient. His heart has stopped, she said, pleading to borrow the ambulance's defibrillator. But the paramedics refused to help. Soon after, the patient died.
These viral videos are helping to expose the intense human rights violations occurring. Follow Daily Wire for the latest news and updates regarding the lockdowns in China.
That's terrifying. I'm terrified.
We should be terrified because this is what the Bernie Sanders, the AOCs, this is what Chinese money in America is doing, and I want to fix that. It's not Chinese money. It's American money.
Yep.
We have now made China a superpower by making everything in China, by buying everything from China, by not allowing our kids or not encouraging our kids to work with their hands. Our medication is made in China. China is over here buying up land, acres and acres of farmland, cattle land. They are food processing plants. We need to recognize that we have done this to ourselves. And if it keeps on, and if we don't, and they're going to call us the crazy conspiracy theorists, but it's the truth. And it's being shown. That's why so many people from China try and get here. Take a look. If you're not sure about China, take a look. Do your research. Don't take my word for it. Do your research. Read. That country has zero human rights. Zero. And, forget the dogs and cats. Who cares about the dogs and cats? They beat them to death because they don't want to waste medication on them to kill them, to euthanize them.
Great. Now you're going to get the ASPCA after us.
Yeah, well, and China has bought so much land from us. There's Lorraine Polly saying it, and that's the truth. So I'm sorry to end on such a terrible note, but this show is designed to make sure that your voice is heard. Jennifer needs to get out of here in 15 seconds. So have a happy whatever holiday you celebrate this week. We will see you
whatever
next
you
Friday.
Identify as, Jew, Catholic, celebrate.
Muslim,
Mazel tov.
Nothing. God bless. Don't God bless. May the superior being God bless you. And we're out.
Bye.